Moi, ça va. Hello, Naya. I hope that I pronounce your name correctly.
Oops. Hello. Hi. Yeah, it was perfect. Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Do you
Getting everything ready?
Yes, we will be fine. Are you planning to share a PowerPoint?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to try to share it now? Hello,
would.
Hannah.
And also maybe put on the background. What was it?
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Nice to see you all.
Good to see you. Okay. So
to put
how
the
to put the background? Yeah.
So you need to click on the little arrow next to stop video. And then there you have a small menu and you have to choose virtual background. And then you have a little plus where you can add an image.
Okay.
Anna, would you like to test your PowerPoint and share your screen?
Sure, that would be great. Let me see here. So many windows open. All right, let's have a look. Is it in presenter's view or how does it look?
Yes, it looks great.
Yeah,
it looks perfect.
Can you see this little?
Do you have videos to share in your presentation or not?
No, no videos.
Okay.
Just boring old me talking. Yeah, no, but I think this would be great. Let me just check that yeah, it's good. All right, excellent.
Naya, would you like to try?
Yeah. Is it good now?
Great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. It works. We're ready. Okay. Thanks very much. So we will join the introduction session on one Zoom link and then quit that link and enter this one. Yeah.
Yes. The technician will put in the chat the links to the other sessions. And then as soon as we have more people here, because participants will need to come to this room, we will start the meeting and then we will have to go back to the other room as well. And I will put in the chat the link to go back to the other room.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, so I'll just,
I was
see you later.
See you in a bit. Yeah.
I was wondering, is it possible for you to put the link to the introduction here? Because I think I just had maybe I was away sick yesterday, so I had a bit too many emails to get through.
I will put it in the chat right now.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me.
Yes. Nice to meet you, Liga. I hope that I pronounce your name correctly.
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So this will happen just before the session that we're in. Okay.
And Olga will announce when participant can go to the other room.
Perfect. All right. Great. Thank you so much.
See you later, Hannah.
See you. Bye.
Do you have a PowerPoint to share? Yes, I have. I already sent it just a few minutes ago to Farah, and will I be able to share it on my own?
Yes, you can test it now. I have your PowerPoint in backup in case.
Just a minute, I will open it. So, can you see it? Do you see my screen? Sorry, you are muted. I cannot hear you.
Sorry. I see the presentation, but I see your PowerPoint desktop. So perhaps you can click on presenter. Perfect.
So I have 7 slides, but I will be short in time because, yeah, some visuals and some basic information. And basically that's it. I will tell about one plastic diet campaign that we implemented in May and June this summer beginning, and about the Scan for Chem app.
Great. Perfect. I see that technically everything is fine, and I'm sure that your presentation will be too.
Yeah, thank you. I checked the format is appropriate, 16 and 9, so that must be fine.
Perfect. I put in the chat the link to the opening if you'd like to join the opening at 10
I
a.m.
think that would be good to hear the opening.
And Olga will
welcome.
definitely mention when it's time to go to the different parallel sessions.
Okay.
Okay.
But there are also these links to the sessions in the email in any case.
Yes.
So we are guests on this are on the safe side in any case. So thank you. This is the link that you already put in the chat, right? The link to the opening. Okay,
Yes.
then I think it's clear.
Okay. Thank you, Liga.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you. Hello, Dominique, welcome.
Hi, Noemi. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I can
see me?
see you. Perfect.
Nice. Okay, so it's just a regular Zoom, not a webinar.
Yes, not today. Yes, yesterday was a more particular Zoom.
Yeah, then I think it should be fine.
Would you like to test your PowerPoint? Perfect.
I only have two slides.
Okay.
If I feel that I am, since I guess I'm the last, or at least in the program, I'm the last on the on the speakers list. If I feel that people are getting tired, if it's getting long, I will skip this one.
Okay, perfect.
I just stick to that one. Yeah.
You don't have videos to share, right?
No, it's just that and a lot of talking. So that's it. Yeah, good.
Super.
Nice.
I put in the chat the link to the opening if you would like to join and see what is presented.
Sure. Yep. And then after that, I would still need to use this link, right? To go into this parallel session.
Yes.
Yeah. The opening starts at
10.
At 10. Yeah. And then our session starts at
10:20.
Right.
10:20-ish, because it will be some minutes for the participant to join.
Right. Nice.
Okay, super.
Yeah, thanks, Noemi. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye. Hello, Manu. Welcome.
Now, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you.
I can't hear you.
How about now? Hello? Hello?
I can't hear you.
Hello. I have my mic on.
Can you mute yourself and unmute yourself?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me now?
I can't hear you.
My mic is on.
What you can do is to click on the little arrow next to the mute button and play with select a microphone. I cannot hear you. Yeah, it's perhaps better.
Now?
I cannot hear you.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Nope. My colleague is there to see.
Voilà. Dis-moi ce qui se passe.
Hello, salut
Hello.
Montauk. Est-ce que tu
Hello.
m'entends?
Oui, très bien.
Ok, toi tu m'entends, mais ton collègue il m'entend pas, elle dit.
Ah,
Donc c'est pas moi, c'est elle.
oui, effectivement.
Ouais.
Je vais l'écrire dans le chat.
Ok.
Can you hear me?
Oui, on t'entend très bien.
Yeah.
Now I can hear everyone. So the issue was on my side, so that's fine.
Do we have all the
Okay,
speakers?
perfect.
Okay,
Manu,
I'm gonna.
would you like to try your presentation?
Well, I haven't made the presentation. I'm only going to speak for 5 minutes, and I'm going to make 2 key points about the Baltic Sea.
Sure. All clear.
Okay, lovely.
Thank you, Manu.
You're very welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
I see that Ewa is connecting. If you wish, you can attend the first session that will start shortly. Do you have the link to the opening?
So we're not going to be using this Zoom for
this room will be for the session, but between 10 and 10:20, we have the opening session.
Okay.
And that's on the other link.
Okay, so we should log out from this one, click on the other link until 10:20, and then come back to this one at 10:20, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Unless we use 2 computers to see the other session and another link. Right.
You have to go from one to the other.
Okay. All right, lovely. So I'm going to click on the other link and then get back to this one in 20 minutes.
Perfect. See you in 20 minutes. Thank you, Manu.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Qué despelote.
Hey, Farah.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm looking forward to the weekend. How about you?
Yeah, almost there.
Yeah.
I already had several speakers coming to test: Naya, Manuel, Dominique, Anna, and Liga. And now I see that we have Russo. I hope that I pronounced the name.
Yuso. Yeah, I don't. I don't know how to pronounce all the names. I hope I do. Okay. What's the turnout looking like? Do you know the registration?
I need to double check, but yesterday we had around 32 participants registered for the session.
Okay, that's good.
Would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, just 1 second. I'm just doing something here, just sending something.
Hello, so I hope that I pronounce your name correctly. Sorry if I'm not.
You mean to share my screen to test?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so should I share? Open. I'm just going to open up what I want to share. That might be the best thing. 1 moment.
Hello, Kirsi.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Welcome. Hi, Lucille.
Good morning.
Would you like to test to share your screen before the session starts? If you have a PowerPoint presentation to share.
I don't have any PowerPoint, so.
No problem. Okay, so I'm just going to see if this works. Yeah. Share screen. So who we got on here? We have Lucille. So is there any maybe I can just sort of see who's here just to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly, or try to anyway. Hang on, can you see my screen?
Yes, but you need to put it as presenter mode.
Yeah. So where is that button?
I see the slideshow play.
So like this. And is it possible to see, okay, no, this is fine. Just rename my thing and turn on my camera. Is that okay? Can you see me and can you see the presentation? Naomi, is that okay?
All clear.
Good. And you can see me?
Yes.
Yesterday there was some problem with the light, but I don't know how to fix that. But when I moved, then the technician told me I had to be centered, so I don't know.
No, that's totally fine. And as we are in normal Zoom meeting, if you're sharing your screen, we will see you in a little. But if you are not sharing your screen, we will see you in main.
Yeah. So who have we got? I don't see the names when on the small screens. So I see. Well, no,
we have Kirsi, Lucille, Russo. I hope that I pronounce your name correctly. Perhaps you can open your camera and test your sound.
But so, for example, I see someone underneath you now. Maybe that's Kirsi. I don't know. Kirsi, are you wearing the big headset?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, now your name pops up when you talk. Okay. So Kirsi, Kurki, Mittinen.
Kurkimiettinen. It's quite hard. It's finished.
Mittinen.
Yes.
Mittinen.
Yes.
Okay, and then underneath that again, I don't see a name until they talk. Baltic Sea. Yeah, so that's Lika. Or no, maybe not. Can you see, Naomi, can you tell me who else is on there? Because I don't see any names, which is very strange.
So we have Rousseau, Kirsi, and Lucille for now. And we already had Nara, Manuel, Dominique, and Anna Griffiths to test. They will come back after around 10:20.
Okay, and Yuso, your name is like that, Yuso?
That's correct, Juuso.
Juuso.
It's pretty difficult in Finnish. Yeah, I know.
No, well, my name is Farah Obaidullah. Nobody can say that. So. Well, thank you so much for coming to this last minute. At the last minute, it was a bit of a scramble, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thank you very much.
I like the surfboard. Now, I hope my cats don't make too much noise. But anyway, if they do, then that's nice.
No trouble. I have a dog here that might also make some noise. They're good company.
Yes, exactly. I will not apologize for my company, but yeah.
Hello, Hannah.
Hi. I think I got in here.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
Would you like to open your camera and test your screen sharing, perhaps? We can see you.
I cannot see myself, but I think that's okay. And then I share the screen. You cannot start screen share while the other participant is sharing.
Farah, if you could stop sharing.
Yeah, of course. So I have to do that as well in the.
Oh, just a moment. I need to open the presentation first.
Farah, when you will announce the Slido, I will share the Slido on the screen. And when you want me to go to the next question, just mention it that now we are going to the next Slido question.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, and then just for, I mean, I said it in the email as well, but obviously we have 9 people to get through in quite a short time. So if we could keep the presentations quite focused, and also just think about, for the discussion, hopefully we have time for that to what, or in your talk, reflect on, what are the challenges, or how can we bring more people into this space, into the ocean space. Oh, Olga.
So can you now see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so it's working well.
May I ask you how many people are registered for the session? If you have information, perhaps.
I think there were 37. I think yesterday there were 37 people registered, or right, Naomi, and so I don't know how many there are today. Is Naomi there?
Yes, I will quickly double check now.
Oh, wait, I need to, Olga wants me to leave and join the other session for a minute, just one moment. I don't know if I have the link to that.
Link is in the chat.
For the opening session?
Yes.
In which chat? In this chat? I don't see it.
In this chat, let me copy, paste. Now it's in the chat.
Thank you. Okay,
and we have 43 people registered.
Thank you.
And for now, for your information, there are 46 in the opening. they are closing the first part to invite people to join the parallel sessions.
Yeah, I don't know who's sharing the screen, but perhaps because I had to jump out of that one to come back in here because they're still talking. So I told Olga I would come back in here. Otherwise it's a bit, it's too messy to jump between the two.
You can share your screen if you like, and let me know when you want me to accept the participants. For now, there are 2 in the waiting.
Okay, is everybody, at least are all of us here? Let me look. Naomi, do we have everybody from our speak? Sorry, I had to jump. Olga asked me to jump out into the other meeting, which
no, that's fine.
Here.
They did the check, but they are not yet in the room. It's Manuel, Dominique, Nara, and Hannah Griffiths.
Okay, so we should wait a couple of more minutes for the others.
And someone that I did not saw and was in the agenda, it's Sana Roussi. Will she join?
If you mean Sanna Rosie, she's not coming. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have you, so that's good. Yeah. Talk on.
So I saw everyone.
Okay. So if Naomi, when all the speakers are in, then I will. Then I think we can start, unless the closing session hasn't finished.
No, now it's Mael talking.
Oh gosh.
Farah, when you start the session, if you can please mention that the meeting is recorded.
Okay.
Thank you.
Naomi, if I'm just aware that we're eating into our time, and if you think we should start, then I'm happy to start. But if
we have 3 persons in the meeting room, in the waiting room. So
okay.
But I will ask Olga and Lisa how they want to proceed. If we will extend a little bit and start after the closing.
Because I'm also aware that, for example, Yuso has to leave at 11. But anyway, we've put you as a third speaker.
Yeah, no worries. I can maybe lead a bit more over than 12. It's fine.
I also have another meeting after this one, so I can't stay longer than the original time.
Yeah. So I'm aware of, so we should try to stick to the time. But we have Hannah and Liga on this call already, right? So we can.
They are in the main room for now, but they came before to test everything.
Yeah. Okay. So and then because if Manuel and Dominique are not here, I mean they're not speaking till. Is Nadja here?
No, but she came earlier to check everything.
Okay. So maybe we should just begin, because
we have only 3 people in the waiting room.
Okay, but because it's a recorded session, I thought, well.
Now Olga is presenting the parallel session, so we will have more participant really soon. Welcome back, Hannah.
Hello.
Hi.
Farah, let me know when you want me to accept everyone in the meeting.
Has Olga finished?
She just finished.
Okay, so there's people streaming into our session now.
Yes. I'm accepting everybody now, so.
That's great. And also, Naomi, I see your screen. Is there a main screen that is that normal?
I don't share my screen anymore.
Okay. Now I see Hannah. Just fine. Hi. So have we started?
We can start.
Great, thank you. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to this session, and I hope that you had a good starting or opening session and are inspired to come into our session. So my name is Farah Obaidullah. Actually, sorry, I'll just share my screen. Maybe that's a moment. Can everybody see the
yes.
the screen? Great, thank you. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Farah Obaidullah, and I'm a longtime ocean advocate, a ocean consultant, and also the founder of Women for Oceans, a platform that connects and amplifies the voices of women around the world that work in the ocean space. So thank you for attending today. We have quite a packed agenda, so we'll get started straight away. What we will cover today is the campaign, How to Make EU Blue, and then with a specific focus on the Baltic, and particularly how we can mobilize people that are not necessarily in our own sort of sphere of influence or, you know, our peers for the ocean. So whether that's people that otherwise don't really engage or think about the ocean, but also businesses and other entities, agencies, organizations, governments, and so on. So we have a big panel and a very interesting panel from across different NGOs and organizations and also policy in today's session. So I'll quickly introduce who we have before I talk about the campaign. We have Hannah Griffiths from WWF. She is the communications manager, Hannah Griffiths Berggren. She is the communications manager at the WWF Baltic Eco-Region program, leading and coordinating joint communications across the Baltic. She is an experienced communicator specializing in environment and sustainability topics, and in taking complex scientific knowledge and turning it into written, photo, or video content that connects with a wider audience. So that's great. Good, strong communicator on the panel. Hannah will introduce the WWF Baltic Eco-Region program. Then we have Hanna Pipponen, and my apologies for the pronunciation. Hannah works in the Marine Research Center of the Finnish Environment Institute as a coordinator of Marine Finland. She is specialized in GIS, data visualizations, and client-based approaches. Hannah will be talking about Marine Finland, a new website that marinefinland.fi, a new website that combines the multidisciplinary marine information produced by different organizations in Finland into one seamless entity. The aim of this site is to improve the availability and usability of marine information, as well as to increase citizens' awareness of the sea. The marinefinland.fi is implemented together with customers based on their needs and wishes. And then we have Juuso Tilajas. He is the CEO of Laguni. Juuso is a water sport entrepreneur already for more than 10 years. Juuso is also a father and a passionate kite surfer, kiteboarder. Juuso will be talking about his project, the Baltic Sea and Plugging, and why and how we can engage people. We then have Liga Pakalna. Liga is an enthusiastic environmental expert with personal and professional interest in sustainability. She represents the Baltic Environmental Forum, Latvia. And Liga will be talking about the invisible side of plastics, the Plastic Diet Campaign, and the global app Scan for Chem, which allows consumers to avoid those substances of very high concern in terms of plastic. Kirsi Kurkimitinen. Kirsi she works as a communication specialist at the John Nuriman Foundation, apologies, a foundation whose mission is to save the Baltic and its heritage for future generations. She works to ensure that the Baltic Sea, the conservation measures needed to protect it, and the unique culture of the sea basin get the attention they deserve. And so Juuso will be speaking about the foundation what it takes to preserve this for future generations. Then we have Lucille Eckhart, who is the executive secretary of the CPMR, the Conference of Peripheral and Maritime Region of the Baltic Sea Commission, since 2020. Lucille is responsible for fostering cooperation amongst regional authorities in the Baltic Sea region and representing their interests towards the EU institutions. She has experience in European affairs, working practice with local and regional authorities at the European level, but also working for a member of the European Parliament. Lucille will talk briefly about the regional authorities of the Baltic Sea Commission and the Blue Economy in particular, cross-border cooperation, how to bring local issues to EU decision makers, the importance of EU support, and the importance of raising awareness across the different platforms. And then we have Nadja Andersen. Nadja is a senior policy advisor for Oceana in Europe, based in Copenhagen. Nadja works in sort of targeted advocacy towards Danish decision makers and stakeholders to reduce the consumption of single-use plastics. Nadja has experience in political science and working in government administration, most recently the Danish Ministry of Climate, before joining Oceana's plastic campaign in 2020. And Nadja will speak about the campaign against single-use plastic coffee cups in Denmark. And then we have Manuel Bustello. Manuel is an ambassador for DAN Europe, DAN being the Divers Alert Network, the medical branch of the dive industry, if you like. Manuel carries the right mix of academic and practical background in international business development, sustainable practices, and an in-depth knowledge of the outdoor industry. Manuel and his partner Alana have been touring Europe as part of the DAN Sustainable Tour this summer, raising awareness on sustainability issues and green living, including as it pertains to the ocean. As part of the tour, Manuel has experienced garnering the support of businesses to partner with them on this tour. So he will speak about their recent experience of their tour in the Baltic. And finally, last but not least, we have Dominique Litvas, who works with HELCOM, HELCOM's communication secretary. HELCOM is short for the Baltic Marine Environment Protection Commission. And he will talk about the members of this commission and how ocean literacy can break the silos between government agencies, where each agency has its own mandate and concerns. And without taking this holistic approach, these mandates can often contradict each other. So that's very briefly about the speakers. What I forgot to mention at the start of this presentation, if this session, is that this is a recorded session. But feel free to add all your questions in the chat box. And we hope that after we listen to these engaging presentations from the speakers, we have a bit of time to really discuss among all of us what it takes to bring ocean literacy or ocean engagement beyond the spheres of our own influence. So just a little bit about the campaign. So as part of the EU4Ocean Coalition, which I'm sure you've been hearing about in the last couple of days, we developed a campaign which sought to bring together all the different strands of the coalition, but importantly, which also engages people across Europe, people that are maybe not living close to the ocean, people that have an interest in the ocean, people that don't have an interest in the ocean, basically everybody across demographics and across geographies. We wanted to bring them into the campaign to enhance ocean literacy, and also the campaign to take action for the ocean. So the campaign is called Make EU Blue. Why do we have this campaign? Well, it's to enhance ocean literacy across Europe through bite-sized, fact-checked information that we provide on the website, so people can very quickly learn about the ocean, why it's relevant to them, how it affects them, whether it's through climate change, whether it's through the oxygen that they breathe, or the food that they eat, or the services that the ocean provides in terms of recreation and human well-being. And of course, how we are affecting the ocean through pollution, and whether that's plastic or other forms of pollution, including climate change. So, and in my experience as an ocean advocate, I often hear from people that they know that we are affecting the ocean, but they don't know how we're affecting the ocean or what they can do to make a difference. Beyond the issue of plastic pollution, it's sometimes difficult to engage people in ocean issues. And what this campaign tries to do is to inform people of, issues across the ocean: overfishing, climate change, and healthy and clean seas. The purpose of this campaign is really to reach people through this online medium, especially in this time of the COVID crisis, where it's difficult to meet in person. But the benefit here is that anybody can get engaged in the campaign. What we are asking people to do through the campaign is to make a pledge for the ocean. And that pledge, can be anything from, I'll just change the slide. The pledge can be anything from pledging to only eat sustainable seafood. Whether you're a company or individual, you can either implement this at your company level, or you can make the individual choice and share that choice with your friends or your community. Could also be that you decide to abstain from seafood. We've heard some of those pledges this week already. And then there's sort of very simple pledges, like never to buy water sold in plastic bottles or other single-use plastics, or to pledge to pick up pieces of trash on each walk. But there are also sort of more complex pledges that people can make, like pledging to organize in their community to enhance ocean literacy, to take on an issue that's close to someone's heart, and organize around that, and pledges around, of course, energy consumption and reducing your carbon footprint, and a very important pledge that is often overlooked is simply supporting an NGO, a nonprofit organization that is close to your heart in terms of its mission, because at the end of the day, it's these organizations that are lobbying the powers, the corridors of powers, both locally and regionally, to really bring about change. So these are some of the pledges, just to inspire you. There are many more that you can find on the Make EU Blue website. We have a map there which details how far along we are in terms of pledges across Europe, and the idea is to really make that map blue, to get as many pledges in as many different regions and countries across Europe. And the importance here is not just to inspire people, but also to show decision makers that we as individuals, we as businesses are serious about making a change for the ocean. So, now it's time for decision makers to act. And again, another thing from my own experience in talking to people is that people want to feel empowered. And so through these pledges, people can find hopefully something that fits their level of commitment that they can make to the ocean, and feel empowered that they're actually doing something. So yes, these are just some examples of pledges that have been made by, for example, the Commissioner Sinkevicius of DG Mare, but also others, including myself. My pledge is that I am producing a book which serves as a one-stop shop on ocean issues. It goes beyond, sort of what we hear about in the news, but all the ways that our actions affect the ocean, including marine tourism, marine animal welfare, the aquarium trade, of course, climate change, overfishing, illegal fishing. There's 30 chapters, and the book is written by over 30 experts from the Women for Oceans network. Then I am aware of the time, so without further ado, I would like to go straight to our first question. So we have a couple of questions just to see how engaged the audience is already in these in campaigning or pledging for the ocean. So Naomi, if I could ask you, yes, thank you, to show the first Slido. So yeah, the instruction is to, yes, so here's the question. Have you ever made a pledge for the ocean? This doesn't have to be part of this campaign, but just in general. Okay, so it looks like we have 100% yes, so that's already a very good sign, and excellent. I mean, on the one hand, of course, that is excellent news. On the other hand, it shows that we are really, in our own bubble of individuals very concerned about the ocean as it is. So that's why this discussion of how we reach other people is going to be very important. But yeah, we see 100%. That's excellent. Okay, and then maybe on to the second question, which is, have you heard of the Make Europe Blue campaign, or hashtag Make EU Blue? That might be more challenging. Ah, also good news. Okay, well, I am pleasantly surprised by that. So that's 62% of you have heard of the Make EU Blue. So that's great. Not everybody has filled it out, but it shows that that we have some work to do with the hashtag Make EU Blue campaign, which, by the way, we launched in May of this year at the European Maritime Day, which was the Atlantic Sea Basin events. Sorry. So half of you haven't and half of you have. So after today you have, and hopefully you'll spread the word. But without further ado, I'd like to pass on to our first speaker, because we are running out of time. So we have Hannah from WWF, who will speak first on her talk. Thank you, Hannah.
Great, thank you so much, Farah, and thank you for inviting us to present, WWF to present. I'm going to start off a little bit about our program at the Baltic Ecoregion program, and then I'll dive into two projects. So my name's Hannah, and I'm the communications manager for the WWF Baltic Ecoregion program. Let's see here. Yeah, so our vision as a program is a healthy, diverse, and resilient Baltic Sea that's sustainably managed for the benefit of people and nature of the region. We work with 9 different partner offices across the region. So WWF offices, some non-WWF offices, and all of our partner offices have national objectives, which may be prioritize youth outreach or education. But at the programmatic level, we really aim to target policymakers and decision makers who we see as being really key to engage in order to change the state of the Baltic Sea. So of course, we try to raise awareness about the issues we're working on for the general public, but we're really specific about who we're targeting. So the first project I wanted to just share with you all is this bottom trawling report that we launched in October 2020. The aim of the project was really to highlight the potential impacts of bottom trawling in the Baltic Sea, the fact that bottom trawling is happening in marine protected areas, and that legislation really needs to convert into effective action in order to manage protected areas properly. So we had several key messages, one of which was that there is a clear overlap between marine protected areas and bottom trawling, and that it's the government's legal responsibility to ensure that human activities are not harming the Baltic Sea to reach a good environmental status, and that WWF really calls on Baltic ministers and the European Commission to work across their authorities and intensify their efforts to reach this good environmental status in order to support things like the sustainable blue economy and sustainable fisheries in the future. So given those key messages, we obviously had several target audiences. We had ministers such as fishery or sustainability ministers, the European Commission, and the general public. And based on those target audiences and key messages, we picked a communications mix, which we thought would help us to reach those people. So what we decided to do is launch at an EU Commission event called Our Baltic. We presented the reports and recommendations specifically for policymakers. We also created a story map, which is an interactive website where we housed our GIS maps for users to go in and play around. Where are these MPAs? Where is bottom trawling? Where do some at-risk species live? And we also had social media and press, of course. So what we saw is a response that we reached over 180,000 individuals and 20,000 people engaged with the report and the story map. We were picked up by media, which was great. But then we were also looking at what are some of these other impacts that we've had. We saw that other NGOs started raising the issue of bottom trawling in EU waters. It helped to lift up, hopefully, some of the work that they're doing. So it felt like this was an issue that's on the forefront for many NGOs. We saw that there is an increase in focus on banning bottom trawling gear in MPAs. We're also invited to an ICES workshop where we presented the results of the report for ICES who were developing in guidelines for EU Commission on really how to balance bottom trawl fisheries and this good status of the EU waters. We're also invited to a webinar for the Danish Parliament where we presented again the results and also really tried to answer the question of what can policymakers do to prevent bottom trawling and to prevent the impacts, future impacts of bottom trawling. And what we learned from this experience was that it's really important to launch the report and anything that you have more than once and really follow these opportunities to present the key results and findings. We also created comms packages for all of our partners in their national languages, which we thought was really, really useful in order for them to help spread the word. So the next project I wanted to quickly cover was the Baltic Sea Farmer of the Year, which was one of our token competitions that we run almost every year. It's a regional award that's given to farmers in recognition of their work and their best practices for sustainable farming in the Baltic in order to reduce nutrient runoff into the Baltic Sea, which we know causes eutrophication. So we picked 9 winners from our partner countries, and then we highlight an ultimate regional winner who gets a cash prize. This has been a competition we've run since 2009, so we have about 70 farming ambassadors, and the aim is really to highlight the spread of best practices. So there's these key messages of connecting, farming, agriculture to the Baltic Sea and eutrophication impacts. So not typically maybe a group of people who might think about their impacts on the sea, but a really important group to engage. And then we try to connect farmers and policymakers who need to work together towards sustainable practices and policies also to support those sustainable practices to reduce these nutrient loads in the Baltic Sea. And of course, highlight that there are farmers who are actually doing this work. And so they need to be at the forefront of changing this movement. So the target audiences we have are ministers, specifically agricultural and sustainability. We had farmers, of course, who we're working with, and then the general public. And again, we picked a communications mix based on our key messages and target audiences to really get the right people in the right room. Often that is the basic thing that needs to happen. So we have a competition event that's on the piggybacks on the back of an agricultural conference often. And we obviously there would be policymakers, scientists, and we invite the farmers to be there to speak in the front about what their experiences are of sustainable farming. What do they actually see that works? We also have a website now, this being really important with COVID, everything's digital, where the winners can have stories about how these practices work on their farms and what they do and what they see as the key things that need to happen to policy. So yeah, we've co-developed these winning practices that really help to curb nutrient runoff with our farmers. We've had over 160 advisors being trained and 3,200 farmers training 3,200 farmers across Poland in these sustainable practices that we've co-developed with the farmers. We've seen that the farmers have started to develop educational programs for schools on their farms, which has been really excellent. And then also, again, this really important thing of getting the right people in the right room, connecting farmers to policymakers in Brussels, for example, to help discuss what they think policymakers could do to encourage sustainable farming. And then we also help them to get speaking spots at different forums, such as the Forum for the Future of Agriculture. So yeah, our key takeaway was it's important to act like the spider in the web, really connect people, get the right people together, create opportunities for knowledge sharing between farmers, policymakers, individuals who maybe don't meet on an everyday basis, but really need to in order to push this sort of agenda forward. So yeah, I think I went a little bit over time, so sorry about that. But yeah, thank you very much for letting me present, and I look forward to hearing more in our fruitful discussion about the Make EU Blue campaign a bit later on. So thank you very much.
You're muted, Farah.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Hannah. That was very interesting, and definitely some good key takeaway messages there that I think applies to all of our work. Getting the right people in the room, repeating ourselves. Keep reiterating our messages, and make sure that it's accessible in different languages. And bringing unlikely allies together, like you say, the farmers with the ocean community, and hearing the stories of real people. So thank you, Hannah, and we'll move on to the next Hannah. Is she Hannah? Are you from Marine Finland? Hannah Piponen. Thank you. The floor is yours. Maybe Hannah, you're on mute as well. Is Hannah there in the Zoom room?
Yes, I think she's there. We cannot hear her. I see her speaking, but there's no sound from her.
Hannah, shall we give the floor to Yuso while you figure that out? Is that okay? Yuso, are you okay to jump in now?
Yeah, definitely. I'm ready.
Thank you, Yuso. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Farah. I'll talk about Baltic Sea blogging and what we have doing a couple of years. My name is Juuso Tilös. I'm a CEO and founder of Laguni, which is the biggest water sports center in Finland. We are located in Espoo and Helsinki. We have roughly 80,000 visitors per year. Actually, Laguni's idea is quite simple. We want to create a big smile and perfect water sport experience for all customers and beginners to pros. And what we are doing, our Baltic Sea blogging project has been up and running for 2 summers now. The idea is combine the joy of outdoor activities with concrete action for the Baltic Sea by picking up trash while kayaking. We offer modified cleaning kayaks for free, used throughout the summer in the coastline, all the way from Helsinki to Oulu. Sponsors and water sports center partners make it possible for us to implement the Baltic Sea blogging project. With the support of our partners, we supply all the equipment and coordinate the project and communications. The project culminates in the Baltic Sea Day, when we have hundreds of kayaks, supports, electric bikes cleaning in the shore at the same time. Actually, this summer, our volunteers have gathered 2,500 kilograms of trash, and all the biggest Finnish medias have reported about this. We really want to believe that this is the beginning of something bigger. Why we are blogging? The idea is by making it possible for everyone to help and experience the nature from the sea, we want to arouse awareness of critical state of the Baltic Sea. We really hope to change the mindset about acting towards a cleaner nature. A big part of the project and the mindset change is to remind people about the beautiful sea surrounding that we still have. We want to gather people from very different backgrounds to work as a community for the same mission. And I have 3 points I wish to share with you about the learnings in this project. The first, people want to contribute actively. As long as it's made simple and positive, I believe that even though the issue is huge and critical, we need the positive energy to get people moving. We use kayaking as a tool and a positive booster. The second is the more you give, the more you get. I would have never imagined that we will get thousands of volunteers all over the Finnish coast to clean the sea, and still in these 2 years we have never seen anyone using the free kayaks wrongly. It's a matter of honor for them to really clean. And the third point is even small operators can make a difference. Last summer, we had 1 sponsor and 2 kayaks for this project. And this year, we had 10 sponsors and 8 water sports centers. With our message throughout the all medias, I believe we reach more than 1 million people. So step by step, we want to learn, grow, and find the right partners to work with the same mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juuso. You make it sound very, very easy. But I think the trick, I mean, obviously all the hard work that you've put into it, but I think also the trick is you're providing something that is accessible to everyone, and you're making it about enjoyment and leisure and nature, and in that process raising awareness. And I think well, maybe we can discuss have this in the discussion. But how are the sponsors reaching out to people beyond sort of the nature lovers or sport lovers that they attract in the first place? But thank you, Juuso. I want to come and play in the Baltic with you after hearing this. So I'm just going to check whether Hanna is able to join us, or whether we need more time with that and move on to the next speaker.
Can you now hear me?
Yes, we can. Great.
Oh,
Hanna.
yes.
The floor is yours.
Thanks. And can you now see my presentation as well?
Yes.
Okay, good. My name is Hanna Pieppanen, and I work as a coordinator of this Marine Finland FI in Finnish Environment Institute. And I'm now telling you about this new site, which is a new way to share Baltic Sea information for public audience. In Finland, diverse and high-quality marine information is produced in several governmental and private organizations. However, it used to be difficult to find and use this information, as it was scattered in different places with outdated user interfaces and hard to navigate websites. Only a small part of it was available to the public. First, we just had a thought. What if there was this one place gathering all Finnish data from the Baltic Sea? 4 years ago, 9 Finnish organizations decided to join their forces and build a one-stop shop website that make it possible for anyone to find and combine different types of data from the Finnish marine waters and the unique, diverse Baltic Sea. This thought became a true treasure trove called Marine Finland FI. Marine Finland FI combines the marine information produced by different organizations into one seamless entity. The aim of this user-driven and visual site is to improve the availability and usability of marine information, as well as to increase citizens' awareness of the sea. The various sections of Marine Finland FI offers an opportunity to dive into the Baltic Sea to explore its nature, human activities, leisure opportunities, and marine research, for example. The site is implemented together with customers based on their wishes, and that is why the information is visualized in very many ways. Photos, videos, graphs, maps, stories, data. There is something for each user group. In addition to the theme pages, there are several services for specific use. At the left side, you can see an image bank, which represents Baltic Sea below and above the surface by photographs. You can search and download hundreds of free marine photographs and explore them on a map. On the right side, there is a view to the Baltic Sea now, where you can study real-time marine observations. You can see what the Baltic Sea looks like with the latest satellite images, for example, or check, for example, if the water temperature has been higher or lower this summer than it usually is. The Learn and Study section of Marine Finland is designed for teachers and environmental educators, and it offers downloadable teaching materials, visualizations, and information designed for schools. And if you have a question about the Baltic Sea, you can leave it there and have an answer from specialist. For those who need information on a map, we designed a Sea Guide. A Sea Guide is a mobile map which provides information on marine topics, such as the weather conditions at the Baltic Sea, guest harbors, and algal blooms. You can use it easily on a boat, for example, and have real-time observations straight on your phone. For the first time, results of the research work can be enjoyed by both experts and general public. There are many institutions and different cultures behind these sites. However, these differences do not appear in a site where the marine information plays a key role. Previously, the Finnish marine information was difficult to find and use. Now you need just remember one address. It's Marine Finland Fi. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. That's amazing. I mean, I think we could all benefit from such a site in our own countries. I mean, even as an ocean expert, I've struggled to sort of find information sort of in a seamless way, like you're presenting. And what I really like is the image bank. I think that's a great sort of way to attract people to, you know, to understand that the Baltic Sea is beautiful and thriving and a living place. I have so many questions, but I think hopefully we can reserve that for the discussion. Like, for example, how you have seen sort of interest in this website increase now that it is available, and whether this was a response to what, you know, people were asking for. Anyway, but thank you, Hannah. We will move on to the next speaker, which I believe is Liga. Liga, are you able and ready to present?
Yes. Can I start to share?
Yes.
My screen? But Hannah is still sharing, probably.
Hannah, if you could stop sharing, then thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the invitation, and thank you, Farah. Greetings from Latvia, and although my today's content seems directly related with marine and ocean topics, for Europe to be blue, it also must be green, and reducing plastic is one step how to do this. So I will tell you briefly today about the Plastic Diet campaign and the Scan for Chem mobile app. Firstly, about the Plastic Diet campaign, it was done by two projects, basically with one Interreg project known as City2, and the project I'm representing, Life Ask Reach, in close cooperation. And the main focus was to make invisible visible, because usually when we talk about plastic pollution and plastic impacts, they are like physical pollution in water, physical pollution in environment, several pictures with the animals who dig in somewhere in some plastic bottles and so on. But in this campaign, we put more focus on harmful chemicals that may come out from plastic, different kind of plastic utensils that we use like daily, and to put more attention how you can safely use some plastic. For example, food contact material, you don't need to put there some oily things, and to do not heat these packages. Also to change behavior by offering different sustainable lifestyle tips and alternatives, and to offer different things how to do this, because changing behavior is a big challenge, because we also are used to do things as we are doing, and so on. So campaign was running from beginning of the May till the middle of June. It was running on social media platforms, like mostly on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Some partners did activities on LinkedIn, YouTube, and other platforms using the hashtag known as Plastic Diet. You can still find some materials about this campaign. And there were 6 thematic weeks. Every week there was a different theme. It started with cloth and different fabrics, and then sport and leisure equipment, then home accessories, toys, food contact material, and bioplastic. And this is how it looked like on Instagram. When you search after this hashtag non-plastic diet, you can find different materials, and sometimes also using the translator option, you can find out more about the content. But as there were different organizations involved, then also the content was differently represented, and it was quite interesting. And what it looked like in numbers, the total reach was more than 500,000 of Europeans across the 14 countries. We are quite proud of these results, and there were involved 20 organizations, and some also associated partners who were just partly sharing some posts, and there were prepared and post more than 600 posts on social media. And the main conclusion, of course, as it was also established in previous presentations, that there are a lot of small steps that we can take in reducing our exposure to plastics and its hazardous additives. And shortly about the Scan4Chem app, that is the main result of the project I'm working in, Live Ask Reach. Generally, this is app for every consumer. And you can, this is international app, and you can download it for free in Google Play and App Stores and know what to buy. This is a free app for finding out if product that you are buying, if this contains plastic, contains substances of very high concern, about 0.1%. It may sound very difficult, but according to REACH regulation, European REACH regulation, every consumer is right to know if the product that he or she is buying contains these hazardous substances, and there are products who may contain them, but then there must be instruction, and this is a easy communication tool, how you can communicate with how this communication could be encouraged between consumers, retailers, and producers, because according to this regulation, they must have information and give it to you. And there's a really nice form that you really just need to scan the barcode or take a picture if you want, put the product name, and then ask to retailer or producer. And we would like to highlight that every scan counts, as every step counts, that this raising awareness on all sides make our life more sustainable. And also this shows that there is sustainable consumption and the need for this. This is one also way how to show it to the retailers and also producers. So I would like to encourage you to join more than already 80,000 Europeans and use your right to know and download the Scan4Chem app. It's available freely to Google Play Store and App Store. So shortly, I fit into 5 minutes, hopefully. So thank you, and feel free to contact me or to visit our social media or web platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Liga. I will definitely be downloading the app after this this call. I think what stands out for me from this is that what you've developed is something that is very personal, and I think that is what we need to do more of to engage people. So even if people are not particularly interested in nature or particularly interested in the animals or outdoor activities, I think most people are interested in their own well-being and their own health. And so if we can find ways to link health to nature in the way that you have, then I mean, in 6 weeks having 500,000 people join the campaign, that's very impressive. Imagine if you were, had that same push for a year or more, how much further that would go. So thank you very much, Liga. And then we will go to the next speaker, which is Kirsi. Kirsi, are you able to begin?
Yes, I will share my screen. Just a moment. There you go. Now you should see my screen, hopefully. Yes, hello everyone. I'm Kirsi Kurkimiettinen from the Jon Nurminen Foundation from Finland. I'll shortly talk about the Baltic Sea Day, which is a day to celebrate our lovely Baltic Sea that we share and how we engage people to join in. We launched the event in 2019, so this is the, well, second proper year. The launch year was 2019, so we had 2 years of proper event years now. The goal was to make one day a special day only for the Baltic Sea and to engage everyone in. We know that there are already some events concerning the Baltic Sea, like the Helcom Baltic Sea Day in March, but we thought that they're still missing this wide public events for everyone that also has cultural and historical aspects in it, and that is international for every Baltic Sea country, or every country actually. Yeah, and we want to give some hope also. Like the Baltic Sea is not only like the status that's not great at the moment in most parts, but there's also a bit of hope. We've done lots of things to improve the status of the Baltic Sea, and we want to show the world actually that there are things that you can do to make it better. I can gladly announce that the Baltic Sea was held yesterday, so this is quite fresh. We had over 200 events and activities in 6 countries and in over 20 cities, so it was a real success this year as well. So to the point, how to engage public to join in. I think the first step is to have a clear brand and goal instead of the values. So it is easier to then try to get people to join in when they know what they're getting into. We wanted to have this joint tradition around the Baltic Sea, and to really have everybody come in, not only the Baltic Sea organizations, but everyone, because as we saw yesterday, like various organizations, although they don't really do work in the Baltic Sea sector maybe, but they do have a relationship to the Baltic Sea, and as well as the public. I yesterday talked to this school that is in inland in eastern Finland, which is far away from the Baltic Sea, but they also had the Baltic Sea in their school, and they talked about how to like eat Baltic Sea friendly meals, and what the things that they do there can impact also the Baltic Sea, because the water basin is really large, so it also concerns the inland, not only the coastlines. And when we started, we had good partners on board. We had the city of Helsinki, for example. We had the city of Turku, which they have this Baltic Sea Challenge, maybe you heard of. And we also had Sanoma, which is a big media house in Finland. So it's good to have like these good solid partners that are eager to join in, and then spread the joy to other organizations after that. We have a really good focus on activation and participation. We have concrete activities and examples how to celebrate the Baltic Sea. This has made it easier for organizations when we have the examples that you can do this, or you can use these materials, or give examples of things to do, then it's easier for the organizations to join in. We have a quite wide material bank as well that the partners can freely use. As said, it's not only the ecological status, which is of course important, but also the culture and history. And we want to really make people think about why the Baltic Sea is important and what their own relationship is. And I think we have succeeded in that. The Baltic Sea Day is not tied to any specific location, which is actually a really good thing, because then you can celebrate it anywhere. At these COVID times, it has been a bit struggleful, to say at least, to organize any events. But luckily, from the start, we have had many virtual events, online events as well, and to complement the events and activities that have been happening in real life, so to say. Yeah, as I said, we have these virtual events, but also we have shared a lot of experiences in social media. So I encourage you to go check out the hashtags that are in the presentation. Itämeripäivä, which is Baltic Sea Day in Finnish. That's the most popular one since we launched this originally here in Finland. Then Östersjödagen, which is in Swedish, and Baltic Sea Day in English, of course. And then there's also Läänemerenpäivä in Estonian. Yes, as said, multiple ways of participating. So some may be quite easy to join in. We've always said that the easiest way to join in Baltic Sea Day is to eat a Baltic Sea friendly meal, which is sustainably sourced wild Baltic fish, for example, or seasonal vegetables and so on and so forth. And I think one of the key things, since we had this year over 200 partners, is to listen carefully what they say and listen to the feedback and then learn from it. We're right now collecting the feedback from this year, and I'm eagerly waiting to see what they think about the Baltic Sea and how we did and what we could do better next year. These are just the examples that we have. We made these 3 campaigns, as said, to make it easier to join in, both for the public and for the organizations. The first one was the Baltic Sea menu that I talked about already. Then we had this plunge challenge. So we challenged people to take a plunge at 6 p.m. to recognize their own close by waters. It doesn't have to be the sea, it can be the river or the lake or whichever pond you have close to you, to recognize that the clean waters are important. And then the third one was this called the Baltic Sea moment, which it was more of a cultural challenge to read a book about the Baltic Sea or the sea in general, or listen to a podcast, or go to an art exhibition, or listen to a concert on Baltic Sea Day, and so on and so forth. So these were really popular this year as well. And as said, we have these goals and values that we have, that we wanted to people to know about, not to have too strict rules or anything, but something that makes sure that the Baltic Sea Day is, as a brand, stays like still protecting the Baltic Sea and doesn't go like the other way around, that somebody wants to do something that's actually not healthy for the Baltic Sea, that we don't want. So we had these guidelines for the partners to come to, that we want them to recognize. And the participation in the Baltic Sea Day for partners is free. So we don't, as John Norman Foundation, we don't take any money from organizations to join in. And that's probably one key element why this has been so popular. There's an example from last year. This year has been so abruptly yesterday, so I haven't had time to compile anything from yesterday's posts. But as you can see, there are quite many organizations joining in last year as well. There are like newspapers and transportation companies, and the president of Finland and the former president of Finland as well, and the customs and like all sorts of organizations are joining in, and it's really nice and fun to see and hear what their relationship to the Baltic Sea is. And of course, I want to invite all of you to join in next year. The Baltic Sea Day is always celebrated on the last Thursday of August, so it will be the August 25th next year. And you will find all sorts of information on the Baltic Sea Day site, which is balticseaday.fi. And I will gladly answer any questions in the end discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsa. That's that's a shame that we weren't in Helsinki in person this year to take part in the Baltic Sea Day. So yeah, just some key takeaways from my side, and what really sprung to mind is the culture and history of the Baltic, because it's again a way to engage people that might otherwise not, think of the Baltic Sea as anything too interesting. But if they're interested in culture or in history, then that is a good way to hook them onto the Baltic Sea and the need for us to keep it healthy. And of course, hope. Very important message always, and listening and learning. So yes, hopefully we'll be there next year. So I'll very quickly pass on to the next speaker, which is Lucille. Lucille, are you ready to take the floor?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you, Farah. A very good morning to all of you. It's very nice to be here present for these 2 days. We have heard a lot of inspiring projects, and I've already booked the plan to go to Espoo for the kayak project for next year. Sounds very, very nice. I will give you some information about the CPMR Baltic Sea Commission. I'm working there as Executive Secretary. And the CPMR Baltic Sea Commission is a political organization of regions around the Baltic Sea. So we have 18 member regions from Sweden, Finland, Estonia, and Germany. And over the 25 years, the member regions have been cooperating on a daily basis. And I would say that cooperating for better shape of the Baltic Sea has been really one of the core priority of the CPMR Baltic Sea Commission, because the shape of the Baltic Sea is really close. The shape of the regional authorities is really linked to the shape of the Baltic Sea. The Baltic Sea is really what connects us. It's also a part of our identity, and it's also a shared responsibility. So what can we do at the CPMR Baltic Sea Commission? On the one hand, we foster interregional cooperation, but also on the other hand, we promote a Baltic Sea region's perspective in EU policies. So we are, our regional politicians are developing a policy recommendation to the EU decision makers on different topics, such as encourage sustainable fishing in the Baltic Sea region, but also how we can promote decarbonization of the maritime transport. There are very good examples at local level that could be replicated in the different parts of the Baltic Sea regions. For giving you one example, yesterday there was a new ferry that was launched between Vasa in Finland and Umeå in Sweden. And this is one of the most eco-friendly ferry that connects the two regions. So that's really, and that is also due to the strong regional cooperation across border. Also at the CPMR Baltic Sea Commission, we have a maritime working groups made up of regional politicians. And in this working group, we promote really good local projects in different topics. And we always have an exchange with different stakeholders from academia, so that the regional politicians are more aware about what are the concrete issues related to Baltic Sea and have scientific evidence. But also we have discussion with the businesses, because the green transition of the Baltic Sea regions, we need to have the business sector on board. Another area of work, which I mentioned before, is that we really have an open dialogue with the EU institutions to make them understand what are the key issues for the Baltic Sea region. For example, in September, we have an event planned with the European Parliament on Baltic Sea ports and to what extent the ports in the Baltic Sea regions are contributing to the blue economy. Because they are developing really innovative and forward-thinking solutions, also to decarbonize the transport, maritime transport. Since we are a bit running short of time, I will be short to finish. How can we mobilize for the campaign? Because that was a bit the aim of the discussion as well. I would say that use local channels, the different local stakeholders, but also local media, have an adapted communication, because from the communication way differs from each country to another, and also from different generation, like a social media, etc. And use the right platform. I mean, this event, but also the Baltic Sea Day, is a great opportunity to raise awareness, and we should take this opportunity. And there is also the EU4Ocean macro-regional strategy with its annual forum. This is a great platform to use to also bring in new commerce in Baltic Sea cooperation. And lastly, I would just like to strengthen that some of the speakers already said that the Baltic Sea has a strong social aspect. And that's also a way perhaps to raise awareness among people that are not so committed to environmental or economic things, because there is nothing else better than to take a swim in the Baltic Sea in the summertime when we need to ensure a good shape of the Baltic Sea for future generation, for them also to enjoy a good swim. Voilà. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lucille. So that's also a very important to realize for our audience and for all of us, that it is about cooperation, and it's you're essentially like a cog in the wheel, translating what is happening on the ground, in the Baltic, and with all the organizations working to raise awareness, and really translating that into cooperation with businesses and bringing all that to the decision makers and the EU institutions. So it may not be as sort of flash or fancy as a project on the ground, but I think it's very much a central part of any bigger effort to bring the Baltic Sea into a better state, or to raise awareness about the Baltic Sea. So thank you very much. There's a lot I learned from that, and of course your points about how to be adaptive and really bring in local media and local channels and make it relevant to the people by using the right platforms. So without further ado, we'll move on to the next speaker, and that is, I believe, Nadia. Nadia, are you ready to take the floor?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Thank you, Nadia.
I'm gonna share my screen. So hopefully you see it now in presentation mode. So hello everyone, I'm Naya, and I'm a plastics campaigner for Oceana in Europe, but based in Copenhagen in Denmark. And I'm going to talk to you about a very specific campaign that we've been carrying out over the last 6 months in Denmark as part of our overall campaign. And it's about single-use coffee cups. And I will focus in particular on how we've been engaging with local businesses, cafes and coffee chains on how to phase out these very widely used cups and switch to refill alternatives. So first of all, why this focus on coffee cups? Well, Danes drink a lot of coffee. I think only the Finns maybe drink more coffee than we do. And it's this symbol of our throwaway culture. They have a really short lifespan, then they're thrown away. They're very visible as litter in our streets, especially in Copenhagen. And we wanted to create this really direct link with people's habits and ocean plastic pollution, also showing that ocean plastic pollution is not just something happening in Asia or other parts of the world, but also in Denmark and in the Baltic Sea. And also, really importantly, there is a solution, because there are other alternatives. We don't actually have to use this single-use product. There are possibilities for refillable cups and so on. So with this mini campaign, we wanted to communicate to sort of the wider Danish public audience with something they can easily relate to. Also use it to advocate for some specific policy measures like a tax on single-use cups with policymakers, but also use it as a way to engage with some businesses, coffee chains, which is sort of the focus here today. So In approaching these coffee chains and cafes, we've been using some of the data that we produced in this campaign. We released a report on consumption data on single-use items, including cups, and also estimating how many of these are actually ending up in the Danish marine environment. And we also did an opinion poll asking people how they feel about this product and how they would feel about switching to reusable alternatives or to have a deposit return system on cups, for example, as we know it from bottles in Denmark and other Baltic countries. So this is something that could be interesting for these cafes and coffee bars. And they also did find it interesting. And of course, we approached a number and some came back to us. And we've started this dialogue with some smaller and some bigger coffee chains, both to be wiser ourselves, to know what, I mean, when we are working for some policy recommendations, what is actually the challenges and the opportunities sort of on the ground, but also to propose to them and work with them to phase out single-use cups in their cafes and in their takeaway. And the experiences and probably the main takeaways so far from this dialogue with the businesses is that some of them are really, really motivated to do something. They also see this problem. They hand out a lot of these single-use items every day and they don't really feel good about it. But it's also that even though they know it's not that good, their focus and their competencies is in what they do in their core business. It's in making a good cup of coffee or some nice food if they have that as well. It's not on packaging and it's not on the consequences for the ocean. And they're not experts on that and we can't really expect them to be. So they need guidance and they need, it's what they tell us, some legislation that can support them. Also what they say is that changing consumers' habits is really hard. So moving away from these single-use products. And if they would just phase out these cups today, they would go out of business because people would just, customers would move to another coffee bar next door. So if this is going to really change, these kind of solutions need to be really convenient to consumers. They need to be large scale and the big players need to be on board. And for that to happen, there is a need for policies that back up this kind of system change, such as a tax on single-use cups or a legal requirement to offer refillable options. So I think sort of very short in concluding on this so far is that if we want to support these this change at the business level, we also need to work at the policy side. And at the same time, we also know from our policy work that it will be a lot easier for us to get political support for some legal changes if politicians can see that there are actually businesses doing it. It will not completely disrupt their business, the economy, and so on. So we need to keep on working both at the business level and at the policy level, and maybe acting a bit as Hannah mentioned in the beginning, as sort of the spider in the web, linking the two sides. Yeah, that was it from my side. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Nadia. Yeah, there's a lot of things here that are familiar sounding to me from my sort of campaigning experience, and not to make it simplistic, because it never is. But for example, in the Netherlands, you know, there was this big fear that when we sort of put a cost or a price on plastic bags, single-use plastic bags, there was so much fear that this would, you know, disrupt supermarkets and purchasing behavior and everything else. But in the end, as soon as we just put a small price on it, I don't know what the percentage is, but the plastic bag usage dropped immensely. I think, you know, a staggering amount, totally unexpected. And I think whilst change seems difficult to begin with, if it is shepherded by policy, by businesses, then it's just a slight adjustment people have to make. But I agree, the burden should not be entirely on people. We have to bring in the policy and business side as well, so that it is a collective effort and make it more effective that way. So again, moving swiftly, we have Manuel Bustelo now coming on from Dan. Manu, are you ready to take the floor? And thank you.
Yes,
Manu.
I am ready. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. Thank you. We can.
All right, lovely. Well, thank you very much. My name is Manuel Bustelo. I work for Dan Europe, which is, as far as said very well, a foundation that has been working since 1983, over the last 40 years, to make diving a safer activity. We have a leading network of medical research, and they are doing an incredible job. Now, so I'm gonna be the first one to break the style that you have all used. You have all been extremely inspiring. I've been taking notes and even checking on my phone as well, different hashtags and websites that you have been mentioning. So thank you very much for that. But I will be the one not using any presentation. Instead, I'm just going to share with all of you now the link of sustainabletour.eu, which is what is bringing me now to participate in this extremely enlightening forum. And I'm going to try to be very quick, very fast and efficient. But for that, I'm going to need your help. You can either listen very carefully to what I said, or on top of that, also look at the website that I just shared, sustainabletour.eu. So this is the number 11th week that Alana and I, my partner, we have been on the move. For the last 11 weeks, we have been traveling around Europe. We have already done more than 10,000 kilometers, almost 11,000 kilometers. And I am right now sitting in a hotel room in Norway. And I have to rush because in half an hour, we have a meeting at 50 kilometers away from here. But this is one of the meetings that over the last 11 weeks we have been doing in all of the countries that we have visited since we departed from Italy. And we still have to go through Finland, Russia, and most of the countries that are actually within the coast of the Baltic Sea. Now, the Dan Europe Sustainable Tour is seeking to do indeed most of the things, if not all, that you have mentioned and the actions that you have mentioned so far. We have, for instance, been thinking about how we can engage businesses on board of the green transition. As you said very well, we need them with us. We have been talking as well with companies that they, for instance, what we Hannah, our colleague Hannah mentioned, giving information about the water temperature and the depth and the whole database that she mentioned, that they can provide as well different optics into doing that, such as, for instance, Parallels, which is a company in Denmark. But I would like to focus on three main learnings of the Baltic Sea that we have gathered within the tour. And before doing that, I would quickly like to thank our colleague Naya from Oceana Europe, with whom we did indeed a survey about the use of plastics that you can find on Oceana Europe social media websites. It's a recent video that we did in Denmark, as well as I would like to also thank Farah for all the help that she has provided Sustainable Tour to focus on how to engage businesses in the green transition, in particular into knowing more and better what the deep sea mining is all about. Now let's talk about the Baltic Sea. So there are three main stories, very quick, that I'd like to share with you. The two first ones are actually about companies and also research universities that we visited. The first one is Rostock in the northern area of Hamburg. Rostock, take a look at this on the internet, online. You will find the Ocean Tech Campus from Rostock. There is an extremely interesting campus that is on the verge of being built up. Most of the companies that are part of that campus are within the oil industry, but they're also seeking into, and they're already working with a lot of other companies that are trying to bring the technologies that has been used for years and decades on the oil and gas industry now into ocean protection. And that is an extremely hot topic, how you can switch those industries and cooperate into ocean protection. They're very open to receive different kind of foundation in industries to help with them, whether you want to move to Rostock or you want to help them from any location in Europe. So take a look at the Ocean Tech Campus. This is a very hot topic nowadays, and no matter where you live in Europe, they might be able to cooperate with you. The second one is a learning experience that we had from visiting the Aarhus University in Denmark, where we spent 2 or 3 days with scientists that are focused on working on the protection of the harbor porpoise. As you know, it's one of the smallest or the smallest mammal in the ocean, whale, that is an endangered species in the Baltic Sea. And what the key learning that we took from there, it is indeed another of the topics that you have mentioned very well here, and is how sometimes the scientific community, because of lack of time, because of lack of resources, struggles to communicate and pass on to the regular citizens the engagement that we need to have with the ocean protection. And this is one clear example where we saw plenty of work that they are doing with harbor porpoise, but they are actually struggling to bring this work into the hands of the regular citizen. Not, of course, within the Danish people. The harbor porpoise, it is a marine mammal very well known and protected and loved by the Danish community, but very little known by Europeans outside Europe. So within the Sustainable Tour, this is one of the platforms that we are touching on and we're trying to build, to create. You will find that you will find information about this on the Sustainable Tour EU blog. So key learning here, we need to help the scientific community to expand their findings into the regular citizens around Europe in order to engage more citizens into ocean protection. And last but not least, something that we could see with our own eyes, we know, being of course, besides meeting companies and foundations across along the way, we have also scuba dive. And 2 of the last dives that we did were extremely important. We worked with Healthy Seas that together with Ghost Diving Network across Europe, they are expanding their collection of ghost nets, such a terrible problem that we have in our oceans. And they are collecting nets. We participated in one day where we collected nets off the coast of the Netherlands, and those nets are now bringing back on board, recycle, and then using to circular economy, once again engaging businesses that they have the financial power to use the raw materials and then put them into their own materials or products or services. And the second one is a problem which is less known, but also within the ghost diving, something called cage diving. In another one of our dives, 10 minutes after we began with the dive, we found a cage diving, to our surprise, that indeed had a couple of crabs in it and 1 lobster that we let them go. And those are lost cages, still trapping animals lost in the sea in the area south of Oslo, Norway, not far away from the Baltic Sea where we dove. There are estimated to be more than 10,000 of them, and there's lots of diving clubs retrieving those nets, retrieving those cages and then putting them back into the circular economy by recycling the metal and recycling the nets. So that's the third learning that we like to share with you, and how much the diving community as well in small steps and small organizations are doing towards ocean conservation, and how much help they need in order to bring those kind of actions into the more macro or larger view of ocean protection. Thank you very much, and I welcome you all to sustainabletour.eu.
Thank you, Manu. That's very energetic, very inspiring, and I think also very practical. You gave some very practical sort of examples and tips. I'll definitely look at the Ocean Tech in Rostock, but also just bringing together what we've been discussing, so far today. So thank you, Manu. And I'm just quickly going to move over to the next speaker, which is Dominique. So I have heard from our moderator, or from the technical team, that the session has been extended till 12 p.m. But I do want to wrap up Dominique's talk, and then hopefully whoever's left, we can have a bit of a discussion. So Dominique, I offer the floor to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Farah. So I will keep it as short as possible. So I'm Dominic Litvas from HELCOM, which is short for the Baltic Marine Environmental Protection Commission. And already by the sound of that name, you can already grasp that we ourselves are stuck in a big, fat, heavy silo. And this is what I want to talk about now. So just give me a few seconds. And as I said, we are the first to admit that we are operating in a heavy silo, but if you look around us, we're not the only ones. Yeah, so we are in the environmental field, but we have agricultural sectors, fisheries, industries, and all of these operate in their own little environment, if I may say so. And what happens often is that our different objectives may be even contradictory. When we look at the different policies, environmental policy may not always be in tune with agricultural policies and so forth. And that's just due to the way how governance works, with separate ministries, agencies, and the entire underpinnings, the entire underbody of such ministries, and just the way information, mandates, knowledge trickles down from more or less from the top to the bottom in this particular silo. And for instance, if you take agriculture, for instance, I think that's a very good example. In the Baltic Sea area, we are about 85 million people living in the catchment. So that's the area where raindrop then flows back to the Baltic Sea. And that's 85 million people that need to be fed. They need to be given work. They need to be given employment. So we grow a lot of crops in that area to feed these people. On the other hand, when we do grow these crops, this has implications on the marine environment, because this area is a heavy user of fertilizers to help grow these crops. And unfortunately, these fertilizers contain nutrients that then often flow back into the Baltic Sea, and that fuels eutrophication, which is currently one of the biggest, or which is the single largest pressure on the Baltic Sea. And about 97% of the Baltic Sea is currently affected by eutrophication. So that's almost the entire water body. So we need to work together. We need to break the silos. We need, environment needs to talk to agriculture. Agriculture needs to understand what's behind, what are the logics. And maybe that's one example here. I was recently in a conference where a PhD student working in an agricultural field admitted that he had no clue about eutrophication. He didn't know what it is, or somehow he knew a little bit, but he didn't know what effect it had on the Baltic Sea. And this just got me wondering, how come that a PhD student has no idea what it is, and yet, I mean, he should know, being a PhD student, but he never came across the concept of eutrophication and in marine environments. It's just something that it was just not on his radar. And this is my appeal to all of you here, is that for the Baltic Sea, specifically for the Baltic Sea, especially if you look at eutrophication, which is it's a very big problem. It's therefore it also needs big solutions, and that it can only be addressed if we change policies. And of course, we can do efforts. We have efforts at the grassroots level and at the general public level will help. But at the end of the day, if policy doesn't follow suit, then there's not much of a point. And we had a recent workshop where we discussed similar topics. And one of the solutions that was found to actually break these silos was to increase ocean literacy at the policy level. And one of the best ways to do so would be to include ocean literacy at the studies, at the higher studies level. Like, for instance, the PhD student I was just mentioning. So that whenever these future policy leaders, policymakers, governance experts, whenever they enter their silo, then that they already have at least a basic understanding of the processes that are taking place in the oceans and seas, such as, for instance, eutrophication. But they have a rough idea of what are the pressures actually affecting the sea, and how do actually their own silo, if I may say so, how does it affect the pressures on the sea, and especially in the Baltic Sea, that would be the case for agriculture. So this is my appeal to to all of you here. Focus also, if you want to focus at the policy level, then you also would need to focus at higher studies, higher academic levels. Another concept I'd like to briefly touch upon, and many of you have already said so in your previous presentations, but when it comes to ocean literacy, a lot boils down to access. And again, my PhD student, he just didn't have access. He didn't have physical access. He didn't know. He never came across this eutrophication topic along his studies. So if you're looking at increasing ocean literacy in various, with various populations, with various audiences, you need to reach them where they are. You cannot address a teenager who is using TikTok the same way you will address a policymaker who is not using TikTok. And the other way around, you cannot post things on Facebook hoping that teenagers who do not use Facebook anymore, I've been told, because they are using TikTok, right? So if you're, this is just an example. So physical access is very important, and who gets in touch with what information where. And then there's intellectual access, and this is when it comes to policymakers at HELCOM. We are at somehow the intersection between science and policy, and we often get scientific reports that are way too complicated for policymakers if you want them to take any action. So we need to translate these into languages that they understand, that they can also easily sell to their constituents, for instance. So this intellectual access, you do not speak the same way you speak to a child and you would speak to an expert than to a policymaker, and this is very crucial. And so far, when it comes to ocean literacy, or the ocean knowledge that we have so far, it's been generated by experts, very much, and it's extremely complex. So there we also need your help, and of course, many of your activities are already translating these into more digestible formats and digestible words. But then, the next step is, yes, okay, we know about it, we even agree, we understand, but then how do we act? What is the next step? And we've had this, I think you mentioned earlier, Farah, you mentioned the plastic, the ban on levying a fee on plastic bags, and that's a very good example. But before that, before that ban, we'd go to your supermarket, and you wouldn't have an option, Or even if you go to your supermarket now, even if you want to buy things without plastic, the majority of items are still overpackaged. I don't have access. I don't have access to non overpackaged items. I'm basically stuck, even if I'd like to use. Or it's also a matter of resources. Sometimes I would like to buy eco-friendly stuff, but it's just too expensive. I can't. Or then there is legislation in place that is hindering, hindering my actions. So there we also need to look at, after, what comes after ocean literacy. Once we all agree that we need to change, that that behavioral change. Behavioral change also comes then with this access to the resources for implementation. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominique. Yeah, I mean, it's good that we are sort of ending with this note from someone that works in the policy realm, and really sort of giving that example of how we need to have a holistic approach also within policy making. And I think this problem that you explained is a universal one beyond the Baltic Sea. And in my experience working in the Northeast Atlantic, even the ocean agencies such as OSPAR and NIAF, the Northeast Atlantic Fisheries Commission, and OSPAR being the body that manages sort of the protection of the environment in the Northeast Atlantic, they don't even talk to each other. So when you have sort of fisheries quotas or fisheries management being set by one body, they're not talking to the body that is deciding on which areas are going to be protected. So this is a universal problem. We see it also with the climate change and ocean intersection, with climate targets being made, but not looking at how we use the ocean to meet those targets effectively. So yeah, but it begins at the small level or at the individual level and at the sort of local level. And I think you articulated that well by saying we need to incorporate ocean literacy at the sort of at that higher level, policy level, before people sort of take on the roles in their respective policy positions. So thank you, Dominique. And I realize that we are running out of time for a discussion. We have 3 minutes left for this session. Yeah, I mean, we can, if there are any sort of burning things that any of the speakers would like to say, to add, now that you've heard other talkers, other speakers say something, then please go ahead, put up your hand, or if there's a burning question from the audience. Otherwise, I can wrap up sort of the key takeaways. I think, after every talk, we've been sort of summarizing what the key takeaways are. Anybody have their hand up? I'm looking also at the technical team, if they see someone. Nope, or just start talking or put your... Okay, so I am seeing that we have got a few extra minutes, but I realize a lot of you have to leave. So what I will do then is just try and kind of wrap up what I think are the key takeaways. I mean, it is, and please come in here, talking to my sort of fellow panelists, please do come in here. I mean, it is a, there's not one size fits all. There's not one approach. That's, I think, what we've heard here as well. We have to engage people where they're at. So, and that depends on not just where they're at physically, if they're far away from the sea, but also where they are at intellectually, where they are at generationally. So if we're talking to sort of perhaps older people with sort of less of the urgency of environmental, sort of the environmental crisis that we face, maybe we talk more about history and culture. If we talk to people that are just making their everyday lives being met, for example, farmers, we need to bring them into the discussion and show how their industry affects the ocean and how other industries potentially affects theirs. But really, accessing people where they are at is super important, and playing, as I've heard a couple of people say, playing that sort of spider in the web role of making sure that information is going to the right channels at the right time, and using the right platforms, and some sort of very sort of basic, campaigning sort of lessons that we have to repeat our message. Something usually takes time to build momentum. So, putting out a tweet once, and I have to tell myself that too with my initiatives, putting out a tweet once or an initiative once is not enough. We have to keep repeating until it becomes mainstream. We need to work with each other. So not just the environmental community, but really also the businesses and the governmental sector, so that we can shepherd in better policies, better legislation, and make it easier for the consumer in the way that, look, if something becomes law, then there's no choice about it, and there's nothing to think about, and there's no guilt that needs to come with that, which is also very important. If you simply cannot get a free plastic bag, then the choice is simple: you buy it or you bring your own. And I know this is maybe making it too simple for some people, that where every cent, every penny counts, or where it can be difficult. Still, we have an obligation, I think, to facilitate that process just as much from the bottom up as from the top down. So yeah, and there's a lot of things that I learned from these initiatives, making the Baltic Sea accessible, again, through whether that's through nature and recreational activity, as we saw with USO and the plugging, and of course what really I think comes back again and again is making this information accessible, like Marine Finland has shown through their science communication platform, where they really bring together all that knowledge, and where you can just sort of browse in a friendly way information about the state of the Baltic Sea. Is there anything that anybody else wants to add? The other thing which struck me was also the scan for chem. and again, a way to engage people, but in a way that otherwise, you know, those of us that may not have time to think about nature but are concerned with our own health and well-being. I'm looking at the chat box to see if there are any questions. Yeah, so Olga put in a point. If you have a suggestion from your experience where we should put our efforts and make Baltic Blue, you can write in the chat. I would like to sort of maybe put up the last question we have, which was now that you've heard all these initiatives, whether they are from science or campaigning or blogging or policy, can I ask Naomi to put up the last question, which I'd like you to quickly take a moment to answer, whether you will, now that you've heard all this, make a pledge for the ocean at #MakeEUBlue. So the question is, will you make or share your pledge for the Make EU Blue campaign? That's great. It's very important that, you know, this, to make a pledge it's not only empowering, but it's also inspiring for others in your community. And whatever pledge you make, as we've heard from all these talks today, every step is a step in the right direction, and it expands the notion of hope for the Baltic Sea, but for also the state of the world. So it's the one thing that can kind of keep us going, I think. So we have 90%. That's great. Thank you.
Maybe it will be. Do you hear me? Or
yes, please go ahead.
Perhaps it will be 100, but I don't know where to push the button for yes. So it's my 10% missing, I guess.
Okay. Well, I think the QR code is the one that.
Oh, right. Okay.
No, sorry. I think the QR code takes you to the website, if I'm not mistaken. But maybe Olga and Naomi can correct me on that. But do make a pledge and do share that pledge with your social media and use the hashtag #MakeEUBlue. I would like to thank everybody that joined the panel today. It was very last minute. We had to switch to an online session because of the COVID situation. So we had to cancel the in-person event. But I hope that in subsequent events we meet in person. I thought it was very inspiring. I hope you did too. I hope you learned from each other. I hope that you're building your network through this event, and I hope you will make a pledge. So thank you very much. And I will ask Olga if there's anything else that I need to relay in this, or can we close the session?
No, thank you very much, Farah. Thank you very much, all of you, for the presentations. I was just wondering if there's just a minute, somebody who were not so sure, what is it that keeps you from being sure? As I said in my chat, if you have any other practical suggestions, but I think we heard from your presentations, what could we use to reach the communities and to see how you're doing it in your campaigns, in your work. So I think it's gave us a lot of ideas. But I think that's all for me. Maybe just to check that we go back to the main session. If you still have time, we go back and we see what the other sessions have been up to and what they have come up with. So there will be a connection between the three, and then we finish.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. And hopefully you've picked up on the email addresses or contact details or social media details of the speakers. If you have any direct questions about their initiatives, then I think they would welcome that dialogue. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, we can go back to the other room. Okay.
Olga, is that, shall I hang up from this one?
Yeah, and we just click on the link that Naomi shared with it. And go back to the room.
Do you need me to go into that session?
Yes, because you need to present what you just presented.
Yes. Okay, I will go there now.
Yeah, thank you.